loved ones. Once you start there, and then once you're able to have that, then you it doesn't matter how much they pay you. So, this panel is how to scale in unscalable circumstances. Our moderator is going to be Willie G. You guys may know him. He's coming out. Give him a round of applause, please.
What up, y'all? Big Willie G, the place to be. That place right now, Stacking Grove 2019. Ow! Super excited. Are you excited? If you're happy, clap your hands. If you're happy, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Hey! That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm sorry.
All good.
I'm sorry,
You guys ever
Thomas.
need
I'm sorry.
somebody to talk to cheer you up? Willie's the man.
Malcolm! Ooh! Anywhere you wanted to.
Wherever you want.
Sorry.
Here you go.
Can I give you this?
Up next, we have Dante Santiago.
Dante
Yeah.
Santiago!
And finally, we have Catherine Santiago.
Catherine Santiago!
Yeah.
Come on, Daniel. Come on, head on. Come on, you a part of this thing too, boy. Don't be scared. Okay, sorry. This is my daughter real quick.
Testing, okay.
Hey, Mila, I'm on stage right now. I got to call you back. Hey, I'm literally on stage. Say hi. Say hi.
Somebody, the food's here. The food's here. We need somebody to come get the food.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, thank you, guys. Appreciate it. My bad. Okay, bye-bye. Okay. So, welcome, guys. So glad to have you guys here. Appreciate it. DJ Syke, can you start me off with a timer, please, sir? All right, cool. I'm so glad y'all here. I'm excited. These wonderful people I have been great friends of mine, and been very blessed to have them pour some great value into me and our company and our vision, and hopefully we'll do the same for you. If we can do one quick thing before we start. Well, one thing is I want to start off with is Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey was supposed to be our speaker today, and unfortunate circumstances happened.
Rest in peace, Nip.
R.I.P. So if we just take a quick moment of silence. Is that okay with you guys? Quick moment of silence for Nipsey Hussle. All right. Thank you so much. With that being further ado, this is how to scale in unscalable circumstances. Fair enough? So I'm not even going to act. Matter of fact, I'm telling you, unscalable that's just L.A., right? This is L.A. written all over it. Unscalable circumstances. Just start off like that way. So real quick, so Tom has got a chance to introduce. We'll give everybody a chance to give a little bit about your background. We'll start off with you, Malcolm.
I'm Malcolm David Kelly. I'm an actor, artist. Started acting at a young age and had a chance to be in movies like Antoine Fisher with Denzel Washington, You Got Served, and Lost. And I'm also a musician in a group called MKTO. We've been with Columbia Records, and now we're with BMG. So, yeah, it's just a little bit about me.
That boy.
Nah, I was just...
Mama, here come that man.
I am Dante Santiago. I've been in the business for almost 30 years. I'll get into where I've come from because I want to pass it over to my wife.
Woo! See, I thought y'all was cousins. I'm playing.
Hi, I'm Kat Santiago, and my background is in fashion, so fashion design and in sales, wholesale, and retail as well. And so we can also get into how we met, but he actually needed outfits for tour, so and I got those done for him.
Wow. I'm playing.
And so now we're business partners with our indie label. So we have an indie label with 4 artists at this time.
Congratulations. Come on, D.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Daniel Mantica. I'm a producer, audio engineer, music publisher, and yeah.
AKA DJ Head Nod. All right, guys, well, let's get started right into it. We got about 45 minutes. I'm going to give you guys a chance to also ask the opportunity to ask your questions afterwards as well. So real quickly, being in Los Angeles is kind of a behemoth in and of itself. We got a chance to talk about Thomas Ma and Anish and how they had a great journey of starting in Chicago or coming from somewhere else and then coming to L.A. and fighting the good fight in order to be even successful to where we're at today. Can we talk about some of your journey and why that journey happened and how you got to that point?
Definitely. You know, I'm from Long Beach, California, and for me, starting acting at a young age, it started off as a love. Just something seeing on TV, kids having fun, and that's something I wanted to do. And definitely have to tip my hat off to my mom for taking her time out, leaving work and helping me really foresee my dream and getting me to all my auditions and leaving work, coming from Long Beach, 2-hour traffic to go to a 15-minute audition to drive back home for another 30 minutes or, for another hour. But she really was just dedicated to making sure I was happy and doing what I wanted to do. So I thought that was really strong. And, also being from LA, you got to know that you get a lot of people coming here, trying to pursue their dreams as well. So just kind of battling with that and also kind of living in the inner city and, dealing with that and, kind of keeping a strong head on my shoulders and having good people around me to make sure I stay focused and, realizing what I wanted to do. So this is kind of some of the battles and stuff you got to go through.
Ms. Santiago, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm from Montreal, and
Canada.
Canada. And so moved to LA in 2011, and of course it's pretty crazy how I actually met Dante in Montreal within the same year that the company I worked for was transferring me to LA to grow the brand. At that time, I worked for a fashion line, and I was brand ambassador for them. And so, of course, I always kind of jump in life and take the risk and just to see, hey, life is short. Let's just try and see what happens. And so, of course, and I actually didn't speak English until I was 19 at all, not even one word. So I think it's just take chances. That's what I did, and here I am still in LA, and obviously everything turned out right. So that would be my advice. Just jump in and try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then we try something else.
Daniel, let's talk about you, Mr. Santiago. We talk about all the time about building around your passion, building around your life, building around what you like to do, what you want to do, and let that become your authentic brand. Tell us a little bit about your passion and how you've been able to build that journey into where you are now. My bad.
I am sorry. Repeat the question.
Passion. The question is passion. Like, how do you get a chance to basically build your brand and authenticity around your passion?
That's a good question. Well, from where I started, and I guess you could say, like, I started as an artist, and I like to say I was behind the front, which actually, so where I come from is, I started with Ruthless Records and Eazy-E with a group called Aban Clan that transformed into Black Eyed Peas. So in the 90s, we went from Aban Clan, Black Eyed Peas transformed, signed to Interscope, and the first 2 albums were buzzworthy, but didn't go where we wanted it to go. So when the third album came, which was Elephunk, which was our groundbreaking album, will.i.am and myself put our heads together, and we started coming up with just different concepts, different things musically with musicians to take it to the next level. Because at that point, we were about to get dropped, for real. So I remember one conversation I had with them. I said, listen, we need to go to these clubs, go hang out with the Puffies and the Jay-Z's, just to get people to, take note of what we're doing. So we did that on one Friday night. We saw Puff and Jay up in the VIP, went up there, and he talked to him, and then Puff invited us to a video shoot the next day, and from that point on, it started to build. So as we're going along, now I'm an original member of Black Eyed Peas, so we decided to bring us 4 back together. So I started singing on all the songs. For some reason, the label was just like, well, we're used to a girl now, so, let's do this. And I had the perfect girl, which was Ferg, because I had known her for all this time, and she was in another group, and I said, yo, come on over here. So that's how all that started. And from that point, the branding of Black Eyed Peas, which now comes to Getro Inc., which is my company, all the hits, we became the biggest group in the world. Then we had another family member, which was LMFAO. So you had 2 different groups that were huge at that time. And at that moment, I said, okay, now it's my turn. I got to figure out how to bring another part of this family into this, and that's what Getro Inc. is. So at this point, I'm branding that to go to a whole different level. And that's pretty much what I want to say about
I love it. I love it. DJ Head Nod, how about we, real quick, how about we talk about your upbringing and the process of the biggest challenges and hurdles you face and how did you overcome them?
Okay. Well, I'm from Chicago originally. Moved out here like 2011, and like when I first moved out here, I didn't wasn't really into the music scene, but I had friends and mentors in the industry and stuff like that. So when I came here, I just really started networking, and I started interning at a company called Olay Music. They're a real big independent music publishing company out of Canada. So that's where I really got my foot in the door with, the whole music publishing side and just learning that. And basically my main hurdle was, just, networking and just building and creating my brand and, trying to figure that out as well as, just, networking too. It's basically how I...
How did you break through the networking, just because like right now we have an opportunity to network. Sometimes you get scared or X, Y, and Z. How did you overcome that fear?
You just gotta, just gotta do it. It's, just gotta go in and, pull your personality and, put that on the forefront for, everybody to see. And, if you're genuine, people will gravitate to you.
I'm glad you brought the genuine thing up because we all here with music have a connection with music and the culture and authenticity, right? So the question becomes, how do you build that from scratch? Because sometimes, I know for myself, I felt like I wasn't fit, I did not fit the mold I saw. So therefore, I didn't see that I had a place to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the question is, how did you, even though you didn't see somebody that looked like you successful, how did you find yourself to become successful? What did you create in your mindset to help you become that?
I think it kind of just started from having a love for it. I think once you find that you have a love for it, and seeing somebody else do it, and it's like, man, I love what they're doing. They look like they're having a lot of fun. It's something I think I can do. I have a love for it as well. It kind of helps you get to that next thought of breaking the mold a little bit and, maybe just getting out there and trying. And I think that's one of the beautiful things with social media and YouTube. And you can kind of put yourself out there and get immediate feedback, get some constructive criticism. You never know who might see, what you put out there. That's kind of how I got started at MKTO. My friend and I, we started on a TV show. It only did about a season, but we put stuff up on YouTube, and our producers who we signed to, they saw our video on YouTube, so we signed to them, got signed to Columbia Records. So just kind of just putting ourselves out there, I think was the biggest thing, and something that we love to do. They saw that we loved it. It was genuine, and we kind of just ran from there.
Dante, let me ask you something real quick in dealing with the critiques, because you brought up something, Malcolm, which is, hey, we just put ourselves out there. But a lot of times we put ourselves out there, and then we get that feedback. Yeah. And that feedback is going to be something we may not like, you know what I mean? And the question becomes, how do I know to take what's good and what's bad? How do I know when to take the good and leave the bad?
Constructive criticism, we were talking about that a little bit.
We were just talking earlier, and I had someone come to me recently and asked me to listen to his music. Now, my thing is, I'm very critical in a Simon Cowell type of way, but even iller. So
that's good, though.
I don't play. I've been in this business forever, and I've seen the most talented of the talent not make it. And I've seen the people that have personality and whatever, not the best singers or rappers, but they had something. They had that oomph. So it ain't about always talent. It's about the songs, because timeless songs are everything. So in that, to jump back into the question, with artists, I kind of like it now. Like at first I was just kind of like, okay, well back in the day, you had to, the label would have to go do this and do that, and not a lot of A&Rs develop anymore. I still develop. One guy's in here right now that I've worked with. I don't know if there he is over there, John Fields. We've had these conversations in the middle of the night at the studio about development, and if you can develop your craft as an MC or a singer, it benefits you, and it benefits your sound, and where you become authentic, and you can stand the test of any era. There's a lot of people now that 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, wouldn't be able to be into, because back then you had the 50 Cents, you had the M's, you had really dope people. Right now, it's a weird time, and we just had this conversation over there, and I like the fact that people try. You know, people are trying. They put their music out so people can hear it. You know what I'm saying? Now, you got 100,000 artists out there trying to do this. It ain't for everybody, though.
Yeah.
So I could sit back and be like, okay, they're dope, they're dope, they're dope. That song will be good for a long time. That'll be good here today, gone today type song. You dig what I'm saying? So,
real, that's real.
To add to what we were talking about, hits, songs. With hits, how do you discover a hit? If the hook is right, it's always gonna be right. You dig what I'm saying? Like,
Feel it.
you can have the best beat in the world and the best MC and all that, but if that hook, if you ain't waking up in the morning and hearing, if that hook's not in your head, then forget about it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
That's why
I'm
Drake
loving
is.
it.
That's why Drake is winning. Kendrick, Beyonce, Reed, you name them, they're all winning. But I like somebody like him because I just told him, I'm like, you're doing it like the Sammy Davis Jr. days, where you're multi-talented. You could do acting, be a musician, and do whatever you want to do. You're a publisher. You do production. You know, you do fashion. Me, whatever. Anyway.
Hashtag that part.
But no, I appreciate an artist that has passion. And it doesn't have to be music. It could be anything that we're doing, from influencers to, if you have a passion for it, do your thing. Because to be real, influencers will help in this game.
Real talk. Okay, so let's break this down, Miss Santiago. So we're talking about how to scale in unscalable circumstances, right? And right now, both of your industries, both fashion and music, is under, not necessarily attack, but under a resurgence, under an evolutionary process. It used to be, as an artist, you want to get signed, get big money, you get a big contract, and then you will maybe make some money off the tour, but that's pretty much it. You can live in the sunset and ride off, right? But in the fashion industry, all you needed was a really good trend that you could kind of ride, and you can kind of ride that off into the sunset. You know what I mean? But then now you have to be almost a pillar of a titan of industry of sorts. So now the challenge becomes, like you said, everybody has a computer. Everybody can be a designer. Everybody can be a musician. How do you scale that? So let's start with you, Ms. Santiago.
I think that, you know, for me, even in anything that I do, I remember watching this interview with Jimmy Iovine, yeah, and it was the how was it called?
Defiant Ones.
Yes. And he said, you know, to walk with those visors and just, you know, keep going and keep going. And this is how I am personally, like in anything that I do. And I'm just really focused. And I think that just knowing that in business, oh, hello, 1, 2. If anything, that in business, in anything you do, if you're walking by if you know that you're woke.
Let's switch.
Let's switch. Hello. If you're being on top, or even, you know, an entrepreneur is lonely, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with taking chances. I'm fine with just having my visors on and trying things, and it's not working. Let's get back up and try something new. So I think that with that approach, and not really paying no mind to what's going on necessarily, and really focusing on a new idea or something, what is not done yet. You know, this is what I think is the key in that sense. Like, I'm not really bothered with what's going on in general. Of course, I do my research. I think that's really important.
Well, how much of your research actually plays into your decision making about the next decision you're going to do? So in other words, like the influence, you see the influencers, do you really take in the influence from the influencers per se and kind of adapt that into what you need to do currently?
I do, yeah, definitely. I think it's really important. But I say there's never too much information. You know, the more you know, the better it is. But that you shouldn't be, oh, they're doing this, and then because it's gonna deviate you from your goal. You know, if you are too bothered about what they're doing, then doubt comes, and that's not gonna help you. So for me, I think the best advice is just keep going, have a clear vision of what you want to do, and just believe in it, and know that that path is lonely. But once you reach your goal, it won't be anymore. You won't even have to look back.
So Malcolm, let me ask you this question. She talked about the vision being clear. A lot of times the vision is not clear, and the vision is completely muddy, and you're either depressed, disappointed, or disenfranchised. And I'm pretty sure we all have hit some points in our lives which we can talk about. Would love to hear that in terms of like how we was dealing with the triple D's, not these, because I got my triple D's, right? but how we was dealing with triple D's and how we got out of that. Like what did you do to inspire yourself to move from that?
I love that question.
Yeah, and I'll touch on it a little bit. I think it's really important to start with, having a firm belief of, what you want to do. And, once you kind of have that goal, nothing can really stop you from achieving your goal. And I think also, having the right team around you, because it can be a lot, whether you're doing music and putting everything together with the project. You just got to have a right team around you to kind of, relieve some of that stress off you a little bit. I think is very important. And, yeah, man, just know if you get in a rut that, the only way you can go from there is up. So, it's kind of, we all go through our downfalls. Like, we've been on Columbia, we've had, some success with the single, and, maybe that second single didn't do as well as it was supposed to do. The budget's going down a little bit and stuff like that. So you just kind of got to figure out how to, make sure the fans and everybody are still engaged, but that you have to, we had to switch up some things. We had to leave Columbia and, go to another label. So don't be afraid to make some of those right decisions that will help enhance your career in the long end. You don't want to stay stagnant in too many places. I think you just need to stay on top of your toes and make sure you take control of your dream. Don't leave it in somebody else's hands. And I think that's very important.
Okay, Malcolm, you being generic. I got you. I appreciate that. Okay, all right.
I mean,
all right.
it was a lot.
Right. So, Mr. Santiago, let's be specific. Give me 3 words, 3 phrases, 3 things that you can say to yourself when you're in a depressive state and you got to make a decision.
Never give up.
That's one.
That's 3 words.
Never give up.
Never give up.
All right. So DJ Head, now talk to me about never giving up, man. Because as a DJ, as an engineer, as a publisher, I mean, like you said, people say music is dead, brother. Ain't nobody making no money in music, right? There's no money for the small man, but we've seen time and time again that's been proven wrong. So now the opportunity is like, hey, how do we join that bandwagon where it's not proven wrong, we can prove it right?
Well, like Malcolm said, you gotta first, trust and believe in your dream, and know that nobody's gonna defer you from your dream and what you want to do, and mess with your art. You feel me? And you just stay focused, and basically you just gotta, believe in yourself. Like everybody, has their opinions, but at the end of the day, it's your works of art that you're presenting to the world, and and it's your, your race, your life. So, you can guide it to whichever way you want to go, but, just make sure you're focused on, your dream and staying passionate about it.
So let's talk about you. Bring it to you. So I know you're talking to them. That's fine. Bring it to you. How did you address that?
Well, I kind of, it's long, lonely nights and, just staying focused on what I had to do and, just taking creative criticism and, just...
How did you deal with that? Talk to me, Head.
How did I do it?
Me, brother. Talk to me, man. Yeah.
When
they said your music was shit and you was whack and you ain't a good DJ. How'd you deal with that? Okay.
Yeah, just
your girlfriend said I ain't even top ramen no more. Goddamn, I'm done with it.
Just showing them, and letting your work be known, and proving them wrong, and just keep pushing forward. And, yeah.
Okay. So, Miss Santiago, you're talking about proving them wrong, right? How do we get the passion to prove somebody wrong? How do we get the drive? What keeps us moving forward when we always get the no? Being an actor, Malcolm, you always get the no. You always get the no. Miss Santiago, I'm sure you got plenty of no's. When Jay-Z, you get that opportunity to talk to Jay, talk to Puff, and then yes, they say, yeah, come to the video shoot, but sometimes, they'll be like, nah, bro, it's The Rock. You know what I'm saying? Go talk to my wife, B. It's B. So sometimes they kind of dish you off. So when you get the no, 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 how do you turn that no into a temporary yes?
Is that
dual? It's the wife thing. It's the married thing.
I think for me it's determination and how bad do you want it, because when you want it that bad, it won't matter. Oh, okay, 1,000 no. As long as I get my yes eventually, it will be okay. Again, with those visors on, I'm not bothered by the no.
Give me an example in your own career that you had a big no that you actually was able to turn into a yes. I know it's hard to say no to Miss Santiago.
I need to think about that one.
That's fair.
I'll get
That's
back
fair.
to you.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's a really good question.
That's fair. Miss Santiago working all around the world, working with different personalities, and having somebody that has an opinion about who you are, but they are held in such high esteem, but you're either on that same level or beyond. How do you deal with getting that type of criticism from them and telling them basically, no, they're wrong, and that this is where the trend is at, or this is where it's happening at? Before you're in your position right now. So, I'm talking about if you were talking to younger Mr. Santiago, what would you tell him to do?
I'll go past younger to right in the thick of it.
Okay.
I'll give you one example.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this is the fourth Black Eyed Peas album. We're working on a song with Pharrell.
Got it.
And for some reason, in my gut, I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
So I went to Will and I just said, listen, this song is not what we need.
Got it.
So he's like, you want to go talk to him? I was like, yeah. So we went to Pharrell and we just said, listen, this song is not quite right.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, let me get my manager. So his manager comes in, he goes, what do you think about this song? His manager was like, well, you know what? If you did your raps better and da-da-da-da, this would be fire and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then Will goes, well, I got my guy too. He said, what you think? I'm like, son, it's all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need some drop it like it's hot. We need some hot in here, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and he would just set on us using that song. So that pissed us off. We literally left, the same day. Will's walking down the street with a friend. He sees somebody across the street. He's like, oh, she's cute, whatever.
Yeah.
Friend goes, oh, you don't know what to do with all that.
Yeah.
He goes, I just gave you a hook. There you go, right there.
Right there.
And he goes up to the girl and he says, what do you think about this hook? And she's like, oh, that's cute, whatever. He calls me. He goes, meet me at the studio. I meet him at the studio. We're sitting there. He goes, what do you think about this hook? I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
So we started listening to samples and stuff like that, and we came up with Egyptian Lover, I Need a Freak.
Wow.
And it became My Humps. So because Pharrell pissed us off,
wow,
we ended up making My Humps. And it happens like that sometimes.
It happens like that, yeah.
Because I'm sure Pharrell went through his situations where somebody pissed him off, and then he made who knows what he made.
Exactly.
But
from tragedy to triumph.
Right. And then I'll give you another example of a song not being for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so same album.
Okay.
We're working on a certain song in London. Fergie's in the booth. We're at the board. And I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
So I just said, yo, bro, this ain't it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I was you, I would give this song back to that person.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is not for us. So that same person shows up 2 weeks later, and it's like, hey, remember those songs we wrote in L.A.? He's like, what are you going to do with that? He goes, he told me to give it to you. So he was like, okay. He goes, I think you should reproduce it and start from scratch. That song ended up being Ordinary People, John Legend.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So I just felt like wasn't always for Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah.
It still helped Will because he wrote on it.
Right, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to go with your gut.
Gotta go what you got. Gotta go what you got. I love that, moving the needle forward. And see, that's kind of what I want to talk about, Malcolm, because you go through thousands of auditions, thousands of no's, a lot of people saying no, 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 no. But when we get that one yes, talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's definitely about, like I said, believe in yourself. I mean, you go through so many acting classes. Like you said, you have so many auditions, but, you know, you make sure you sharpen your tool. You make sure you're on your toes, and you make sure when that opportunity
Can we
comes.
pause with that for a second real quick?
Let's
talk about
pause.
working
Let's
on our
pause.
craft.
Okay,
Working on our craft. Can we keep it real for a minute? Can we
Let's
keep
do
it
it.
real?
Let's do
Can
it.
we keep it gangster? Because I think a lot of time what we humbly doing, especially while trying to scale, we forget in the process of scaling, we have the vision of the grandeur, but in the meantime, we're still average.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You know, and we forget about working on the day-to-day,
Yeah.
the operation.
Definitely.
What needs to go, that has to go in tandem, hand in hand. My bad. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just saying, you know, I know AI sometimes wasn't big on practice, but, you know, that was for him. But, you know, practice, I think, is very important.
He still got to the final.
Exactly. No shots to AI. He's one of my favorites. But no, man, just staying, you know, just always sharpening your tool, I think, is important. So, you know, you're ready for any opportunity that comes your way. But even if it don't works out in your favor, you know, you're still going in there. And the biggest thing is always networking. You know, you're getting in front of these producers, these casting directors, people who are going to continue to cast movies. And even if this project doesn't work out, you never know, they're going to call you and that next one might work out. Like, I've had plenty of those cases. You know, just meeting great casting directors that, you know, that see something in you, that keep bringing you back. And maybe this project doesn't work, but hey, we end up booking Insecure, and we end up booking this movie called Detroit. So, you know, it's just really having those people that, you know, believe in you, and you know, they see that you're working on your stuff, so you go in there and you get it done. But, you know, and just knowing what's for you is going to come for you. You know, I think that's very important as well. And but yeah, man, not being afraid to go in there and fight for it and go get it. And you know, you can't let those no's get you down. Just make sure you go back to that acting class and you ready for what's next to come.
DJ Head Nod, let's talk about this. Malcolm was touching on about bringing people, good people around you. How do you know who to let in around you? Because sometimes we think we're flying with eagles, but we in the bullpen with some chickens.
Right. It's just knowing, having that spirit of discernment around, you know, people, and just knowing how to feel people out.
So how do we determine that? Give me the tools, man. Give me
It's
the tricks.
just, it's a feeling. It's inside. You
Okay,
feel?
okay,
I don't know. It's just something you feel. You'll naturally feel it when you're sitting by a person who, you know, is not feeling you. You can tell, you know, they're not feeling you because of their, you know, their posture, or the way they're looking at you.
So if we on a date right now, you know what I'm saying, I got hot breath, you're not feeling me because of that, that's what I'm saying?
Yeah, something like that. Along those lines, yeah. Along those lines. Yeah. But definitely it's a feeling, a gut feeling, you know, like trust your gut, and, you know, it's the way the person carries themselves. And
all right, so give me a specific example real quick. You came from Chicago, all the way from Chicago, I know nobody, come out here, your butt land in LA, how in the hell you put together a successful team around you?
Man, it's just like I said, discernment, and you know, basically sticking with the people that you know, you're friends with, and you know, they most oftentimes have, you know, the same spirit of people around them as well. So, you know, sticking with your base, and like when I came out here, I had already kind of, you know, been knowing Malcolm before I came out here. So when I linked with him, you know, I just linked around his whole team, and, you know, it just went from there. So,
Miss Santiago, coming from Montreal, Canada. Oui. Bonjour, madame.
Hello.
I love Montreal. I'm going there in a couple months.
Oh, nice.
Coming from Montreal, I wanted to know, coming to a new country, a new state, new opportunity, 5 minutes, thank you so much. What is the things that you had to endure in order to figure out how to adapt? Because one thing I think we talk about with scaling is that you have to adapt. You have to adapt in order to move around. So how did you learn to adapt, and what tools did you use to adapt?
I think I just gave myself time to just absorb a new territory, new people, stay open to opportunities, come to these types of events. But just, it's really important just to really have that open mind. Of course, you'll be a bit homesick at first, and it's also to know who's cool with you, who you shouldn't be around, etc. So be really careful with that and trust your gut, like we said. But yeah, just to give yourself time, just sit back, relax, observe, try different things, and I think with that approach, it just really helped me in general. But it was a fantastic experience. I love to take risks. I always jump in, eyes closed. It doesn't work, too bad. All right, next. So, and of course, though, I remember the day before I flew here, I was like, what am I doing? Like, wow. Like, I can't believe, am I really leaving for real? And, but it ended up being a fantastic experience. But that's the best advice, just to stay really with an open mind and try new things.
I love it. I love it. Take a leap of faith. Do we have any questions real quick before we move on, guys? We got the three questions. I mean, any questions at all? We got 3 minutes left. Any questions? Any questions? All right, we talk about Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah, go for it, Jim.
So for me, right, I'm a little bit different because at 19, I wanted to get into music. I love the music game, right? But I was like, man, music statistically, the way to get money in the music game, I might as well play a lottery. So I started a tech company, right? I'm on my 3rd company right now. Wow. But what would your advice be to somebody maybe, I'm thinking long term, right? I'm 28 right now. I'm thinking once this company, like, I'm going to raise funding. Once I'm 35, I'm getting into tech, in the music game. Do you think that's possible? What would your advice be then? Like if I'm like planning to enter later, or do you say like go all in while you're young and then work your way up?
Great question.
No, it doesn't matter whether you're young or older. It doesn't matter. Just do it. Like you doing tech now, right? No. Do it all.
I would say both, yeah.
Do both.
Yeah, do it all.
Because they intertwine anyways.
I'm going to chime in with Dante real quick. I believe, don't quote me on this, but Colonel Sanders, KFC, the chicken man. Yeah. I believe he founded the company either at 65 or 55. He founded KFC, finger looking good, at 65 years old. Like, that is some incredible ish. But in other words, and I think one of the quotes he said, he wished he would have did it sooner. He wished he would have believed in himself sooner. Because had he would have done that, he could have literally got a chance to see the growth of KFC. So one of the things I wanted to impart you on with this is we all have seen graveyards. And there's a lot of graveyards out there. Just imagine that one of those persons died with the dream that we could have been living on the moon right now. We supposed to be in some clouds, some George Jetson stuff right now, but they took their dream with them. So you and your 3rd company, do it.
Do it.
Go for it. Malcolm, guys, last words, thoughts, process, shameless plugs.
No, man, I just appreciate you for having me. This has been great, just listening to everybody else speak and being up here with some great people as well. You know yourself. It's been amazing, man, so I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you.
Next project.
Yeah, man, I'm in a group called MKTO, so we have a single out right now called How Can I Forget. I think we have a couple shows coming up at the Roxy in June and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, more acting stuff on the way, but yeah, so I appreciate it.
Awesome. Dante!
Like I said, Getro Inc. finally about to put out the music.
Yeah, boy!
It took me like 2 years, but I had to sit in the studio and make sure it was right. So, that being said,
Cat, what?
Well, just to piggyback on that, you can follow us at Getro Inc. on Instagram or Dante Santiago also.
How do you spell Getro Inc.?
GHETTRO.
Copy that.
INC.
Because I'm hooked on Ebonics.
I want to say thank you, Willie, for having me out here and taking this opportunity, and thank you. And yeah, you can follow me at Head Nod on Instagram and.
Oh, yeah, my Instagram's at The Real Malcolm. You had a question, brother?
Oh, last question. Go ahead. Cross-generational artists.
I think it's coming back. We're going back to
the realness.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's going back, like you said, the realness, like real music, real musicianship, and real instruments, just the real art, because it's like really lacking now. So, but But yeah, real music.
So how do you see tomorrow's artists? What are that, in other words, if I were to look up 15 years from now, give me a projection. What do that real artists look like, Dante?
Well, the new artist is going to do this. They're going to take sprinkles from back in the day to like maybe the 90s to 2000s, and then now to go forward. So they're just going to be a full-fledged artist. Like, it's going to be crazy because they're going to take control of their whole situation, whether it's touring, what you name it. It's going to be crazy. I could see it.
Okay, last statement on how to scale. How do you scale? And not
How do I scale, like just in?
scale business, thought, process, career.
I think I just look at like where I'm trying to go, what I want to accomplish, and you know, what I ultimately want to do, and then I just write it out basically, and follow steps from there, and make sure I'm hitting every point that I write down, and making sure that I actually write it down so I can see it plain, and just follow my steps, and yeah.
Ms. Santiago?
I don't have any thoughts on that.
What was the
I'll leave
question?
you.
How do you scale?
Scale as far as what?
Scaling, going from your career, going from the top, going from the beginning to the end. How do you scale the process?
I just try to stay humble with my situation because I've gone from the bottom to the top. And like, just know that you always got to treat people right. So when you start that fall, that decline, some people gonna be like this, and you gonna fall. Like, but there's gonna be people there be like, oh, I'll catch you because you treated me so good
On the way up.
On the way up. So I don't know. It's just kind of hard question to answer. Maybe you can elaborate on.
Malcolm?
No, I agree on everything you said, and Daniel, make sure you're hitting those points. Treating everybody, with respect. Like you said, you never know, who you run into in the future. People move up, and things like that. And yeah, man, just staying focused on your goal and knowing what you want to get accomplished, I think is very important. Having that good team around you, keep building your team. And don't be afraid to learn, I think is another important one. Nobody, we don't have all the information. It doesn't hurt to have more. So I think that's most important as well.
Awesome. The last tip I'll give to you guys, whiteboard, whiteboard, whiteboard. Whiteboard is your best friend, okay? Write it down, baby. Big Willie G, that's how you got to scale in unscaling circumstances. Please give it up to our guests for the day. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. Keep on stacking, baby. Woo-hoo! Hey.